The desperate call. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Union sparkled with holographic displays and the hushed conversations of over 200 species representatives. Crystalline light fixtures suspended from the vaulted ceiling cast prismatic patterns across the polished floor of blue-veined marble. At the central podium stood Ambassador Nyxera, her translucent skin pulsing with waves of deep indigo, a sign of extreme distress that even those unfamiliar with Nyxian physiology could recognize as profound anguish. Esteemed delegates, Nyxera began, her melodic voice trembling despite years of diplomatic training, I come before you not with proposals for cultural exchange or scientific collaboration, but with a desperate plea for my people's continued existence. The main display activated behind her, showing images of a beautiful emerald world with spiraling cloud formations and cities that appeared to float among the treetops of massive forests. Then the images shifted dramatically, orbital stations burning, cities reduced to smoldering craters, civilians huddled in underground caverns. For the past 63 days, the Kordath Dominion has maintained a complete blockade of our homeworld and 3 colony outposts, Nyxera continued. They demand our unconditional surrender, possession of our harmonic crystal technology, and, her voice faltered momentarily, 1/3 of our population for what they term biological resource extraction. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. The Kordath Dominion had been expanding aggressively for centuries, but this level of brutality shocked even the most hardened delegates. We have exhausted every diplomatic channel, she said. We have offered technology sharing agreements, trade concessions, even limited territorial cessions. The Kordath High Command merely extended our deadline by 14 days, stating that if we do not comply, they will commence systematic elimination of our population centers. High Counselor Vextrol, an imposing cephalopod-like being with 6 manipulator limbs and skin that shifted between various shades of burgundy, tapped his ceremonial staff against the floor 3 times. Ambassador Nyxera, the Grand Council acknowledges the severity of your situation. Vextrol's voice resonated with authority. However, our non-interference doctrines are unambiguous. The Kordath Dominion, while aggressive, holds recognized status within this assembly. Without clear evidence of treaty violations affecting multiple member species, we cannot authorize collective military intervention. The lights pulsing beneath Nyxera's skin dimmed noticeably. I anticipated this response, Counselor, but I was obligated to try. In 14 days, my civilization faces either extinction or enslavement. I have a question. All eyes turned toward an unusual figure standing near the back of the chamber, a human woman in a dark uniform with minimal insignia. Unlike the flowing robes, exoskeletons, or holographic projections of most representatives, her attire was starkly functional. Counselor Vextrol's skin rippled with irritation. The Earth delegate has not been recognized. The human stepped forward anyway. Captain Ilara Rise, Earth Defense Force. Ambassador Nyxera, have you requested direct assistance from individual worlds rather than council action? Nyxera blinked her large, faceted eyes in confusion. The council is the proper channel for... Yes, I understand protocol, Rise interrupted. But my question is simpler. Have you asked anyone else? No, Nyxera admitted. The Kordath blockade consists of 47 warships and support vessels. No single world could possibly. Earth will help, Rise stated, her voice carrying through the chamber without effort. The room erupted in voices. Counselor Vextrol struck his staff repeatedly against the floor, demanding order. Observer Rise. Vextrol's voice boomed over the chaos. This is highly irregular. Earth has only held observer status for 12 years. You cannot make such commitments in this chamber. Ray shrugged slightly. I just did. If the Nyxian collective wishes to formally request Earth's assistance, we stand ready to respond. A tall, crystalline delegate rose from her seat, light refracting through her body. The human speaks nonsense. Their civilization barely maintains 14 colonized systems, while the Kordath Dominion controls 73. They are outmatched by every conceivable metric. Ambassador Zerthal speaks truth, added another delegate, his holographic form flickering slightly. Humans come from a death world with excessive gravity and atmospheric toxins. This makes them naturally aggressive but strategically limited. They do not comprehend the complexities of interstellar conflict. Rai showed no reaction to these criticisms. She looked directly at Nixera. Ambassador, my government authorized this offer before I arrived. We've been monitoring the situation since your cultural exchange mission visited Earth last year. We respect your people's pacifist philosophy. We don't respect bullies. Nixera stared, bewildered. But why would Earth risk conflict with the Kordath Dominion? What compensation do you seek? A brief expression crossed Reyes's face, something between amusement and determination. We don't want anything. That's not how this works. Observer Reyes, Counselor Vextral's voice cut through the noise. I must formally warn you that unauthorized military action violates Union regulations. Earth could lose its observer status and face severe trade restrictions. Reyes nodded politely. Noted, Counselor. Ambassador Nixera, the offer stands. Your decision. Nixera looked around the chamber at representatives of civilizations that had traded with, taught, and guided the Nixian people for millennia. None would meet her gaze. She turned back to the human. Earth's help would be welcomed by the Nixian collective, she said formally. Reyes nodded once and tapped a device on her wrist. Message sent. Earth Defense Force has been activated. The EDS Defiant will arrive in your system within 8 days. Can you provide secure coordinates for rendezvous? Ship, singular. Someone laughed from across the chamber. The humans believe they can challenge a Kordath blockade with one vessel. Reyes didn't acknowledge the mockery. She crossed the chamber to Nixera and extended her hand in the human gesture. Nixera hesitantly reached out, and they clasped forearms. The Kordath are known for their advanced weapons technology and tactical superiority. Nixera whispered, I appreciate your offer, but... Reyes smiled slightly. We've studied their capabilities. Don't worry too much. After exchanging secure communication protocols, Reyes turned to leave. Counselor Vextral called after her. Observer Reyes, the Council formally requests information about what kind of intervention Earth is planning. Reyes paused at the doorway. You'll receive a full report after the mission, Counselor, but I can tell you we're sending the Defiant. The name meant nothing to most delegates, but several technological specialists exchanged concerned glances. The vessel with the experimental displacement drive? Asked a cybernetic representative from the Murnax Collective. That ship violates at least 21 safety guidelines established by the Union, another added. As you frequently remind us, Reyes replied with a polite nod. Good day, representatives. After the human left, the chamber filled with urgent conversations. Nixera found herself surrounded by delegates, some offering sympathy, others warning about the dangers of human involvement. They evolved on a world with nearly twice the gravity of most habitable planets, one science officer told her. Their skeletal and muscular density is unnaturally high. Their atmosphere contains reactive oxygen that would poison most species' respiratory systems, added another. They breathe corrosive gas as naturally as we breathe noble elements. Their history is filled with internal warfare, a historian noted. They achieved planetary unification less than 2 centuries ago after countless devastating conflicts. Ambassador Zerthal pulled Nixera aside. My friend, I understand your desperation, but humans are dangerous. Not malevolent, perhaps, but unpredictable. Their ship designs prioritize power over safety. Their battle tactics defy conventional doctrine. Nixera looked at them all with newfound determination. The Kordath gave us 2 choices, slavery or extinction. The humans just gave us a third option. I choose that one. As Nixera left the chamber, her communication device chimed. It contained just 3 words from Earth Command. Help is coming. For the first time in 63 days, Nixera felt something she had almost forgotten: hope. Admiral Maya Chen stood at the viewport of Earth Orbital Command, watching the massive form of the EDS, defiant as it prepared for departure. At 58, Chen had witnessed humanity's transformation from a single-planet species to an emerging galactic power. The lines etched into her face told stories of both triumph and loss. "How soon can we launch?" she asked without turning. Commander Jamal Khoury consulted his tablet. "Final preparations will complete in 90 minutes, Admiral. Captain Blackwood reports all systems green." Chen nodded. "And the diplomatic fallout?" "Exactly what you'd expect. 34 formal protests from union members, 12 warnings about potential sanctions, and, interestingly, 15 discreet messages of support from worlds that won't publicly oppose the Cordeth." Chen finally turned from the viewport, a slight smile on her face. "Amazing how many friends you make when you might do something useful." The Admiral walked to the central command table where a holographic display showed the Nixian system and the Cordeth blockade. 47 red triangles surrounding 4 blue spheres. 47 warships against peaceful worlds with minimal defenses. Chen said, "This won't be easy." "The Cordeth have numbers and position," Khoury acknowledged. "We have what exactly?" Chen's smile widened slightly. "We have the Defiant, Commander, and we have Captain Blackwood." 2 decks below the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Marcus Blackwood inspected the ship's main reactor chamber. At 47, Blackwood was considered young for such a critical command, but his actions during the Europa crisis had marked him as a natural leader. "Talk to me, Dr. Kumar," he said to the ship's chief engineer. "Will she hold?" Dr. Priya Kumar didn't look up from the complex display showing power flows through the ship's systems. The 39-year-old physicist had designed much of the Defiant's revolutionary drive. "Conventional physics says no," Kumar replied, her fingers dancing across the controls. "But we left conventional physics behind when we built this ship." The heart of the Defiant was its phase displacement drive, a technology that most Union species considered theoretically impossible. It didn't just move the ship through space. It temporarily shifted the vessel partially out of normal spacetime, allowing it to slit between the fabric of reality. "We'll be pushing the envelope with this mission," Kumar continued. "The calculations for a precision jump into a blockaded system with 47 moving targets are complex." Blackwood nodded. "But doable." Kumar finally looked up, her eyes gleaming. "The Cordeth think they understand the limits of physics, Captain. They're about to learn otherwise." Blackwood's comm device chimed. "Captain to the bridge. T-minus 60 minutes to departure." As Blackwood turned to leave, Kumar called after him. "Captain, the Nixians, they're the crystalline harmonic specialists, right?" "That's correct." "Why?" Kumar smiled. "Just a theory I've been working on. If we survive this, I'd like to discuss it with their scientists." "Plan on it, Doctor," Blackwood replied. "Plan on it." On the bridge, Lieutenant Commander Sophia Torres, the Defiant's tactical officer, was reviewing the latest intelligence on Cordeth warships. "Their shielding technology is impressive," Torres reported as Blackwood entered. "Multi-layered energy barriers capable of redistributing incoming fire across the shield surface." "Weaknesses?" Blackwood asked. "They rely heavily on predictive algorithms. They anticipate conventional attack vectors and adjust shield strength accordingly. Their weapons are primarily energy-based: plasma cannons, disruptor arrays, and gravitic lances." "Anything else I should know?" Torres nodded. "Cordeth commanders are required to undergo genetic enhancement, enhanced reaction times, cognitive processing, and decision-making capabilities. They think faster than we do, Captain." "Maybe," Blackwood acknowledged. "But thinking fast doesn't always mean thinking well." The ship's communications officer, Lieutenant Deng, turned from his station. "Captain, incoming transmission from Admiral Chen." The main view screen activated, showing Chen's weathered face. Captain Blackwood. Final mission briefing. Blackwood straightened. We're ready, Admiral. The Nixians have provided detailed scans of the Kordath blockade formation. Our analysts confirm 47 vessels, including 3 Dreadnought-class flagships. The Kordath deadline expires in 6 days. We'll be there in 5, Blackwood assured her. Chen's expression remained grave. Marcus, this is a rescue mission, not a war. Get in, extract as many Nixians as possible, and get out. The Defiant wasn't designed for prolonged engagement. Understood, Admiral. One more thing, Chen added. The Galactic Union has formally requested that Earth reconsider this action. The Security Council is meeting as we speak to discuss potential sanctions. And our response. Chen's eyes hardened. President Okafor's exact words were, "We'll discuss sanctions after the Nixians are safe." Good hunting, Captain. Earth Command. Blackwood smiled grimly. Creativity, Commander. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day of our evolution. We didn't just survive. We thrived. Because when faced with impossible odds, humans don't accept defeat. We changed the rules. As the countdown to departure reached its final minutes, Blackwood took his command chair. Helm, set course for the Nixian system. Prepare the phase displacement drive. Aye, Captain. PDD spooling up. Displacement field forming. Outside the viewport, space itself seemed to ripple around the Defiant, light bending in impossible ways as reality prepared to be rewritten by human ingenuity. For the Nixians, Blackwood said quietly, phase jump, now. In a flash of distorted space, the Defiant disappeared from Earth orbit, leaving behind a worried council and carrying with it the last hope of a dying species. Humanity unleashed. The Kordath command vessel Inevitable Dominance hung in space like a massive predator. Its hull, stretching over 4 kilometers in length, bristled with weapon emplacements. High Commander Vexkay stood on his observation deck, watching the blockade fleet maintain its perfect formation around the Nixian homeworld. Status report, he demanded, his voice a rumbling bass that matched his imposing physique. Standing over 2.5 meters tall, with gray armored skin and 6 taloned fingers on each hand, Vexkay embodied the genetic perfection that the Dominion demanded of its military elite. No change, High Commander, replied Sub-Commander Draz. Nixian defense forces remain within their atmosphere. Their orbital platforms have been neutralized. The deadline for surrender expires in 26 hours. Vexkay's mouthparts twitched in what passed for a smile among his kind. They will submit. They always do. High Commander, called the sensor officer, his voice suddenly tense. Anomalous energy readings detected at coordinates 32 to 4719. Identification. Unknown, sir. The effect was immediate and devastating. The gravitational wave disrupted the carefully calibrated formation, sending Kordath vessels tumbling against each other. 3 collided, their shields flaring and failing under the unexpected stress. Target the collision group, Blackwood ordered. Kinetic accelerators, full spread. Unlike the energy weapons favored by most spacefaring species, the Defiant's main armament consisted of hyper-accelerated solid projectiles. Simple tungsten rods accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. The Kordath, accustomed to dispersing energy attacks with their shields, had no defense against objects carrying so much kinetic energy. The rods tore through the damaged vessels, leaving expanding clouds of debris and atmosphere. 3 enemy vessels disabled. Torres reported. The others are regrouping. Incoming transmission from the Kordath flagship. Lieutenant Deng announced. Blackwood nodded. On screen. High Commander Vexkay's imposing visage appeared. Human Captain. Your tactics are unexpected, but futile. You've disabled 3 vessels out of 47. Surrender now, and we may permit your crew to live as study subjects. I appreciate the offer, Blackwood replied, but I have a different proposal. With your permission, I'd like to speak directly to the Nixian leadership. Vexkay's eye ridges rose in surprise. The Nixians? For what purpose? To inform them that evacuation ships will be arriving shortly. We've arranged transport for their entire population. The Kordath commander's expression shifted to one of amusement. With what fleet? You arrived alone. Blackwood smiled. Did I? At that moment, sensor alarms blared on both vessels. Throughout the blockade, pockets of distorted space appeared, dozens, then hundreds of spatial anomalies surrounding the Kordath fleet. What is this? Vexkay demanded. Just a demonstration, Blackwood replied. You see, Commander, humans have a rather unique perspective on warfare. We don't believe in fair fights. On the Nixian surface, Ambassador Nyxera stood in the Planetary Defense Center, watching the unfolding battle with a mixture of hope and disbelief. The human ship had appeared as promised and was somehow holding its own against a superior force. How is this possible? Asked Elder Zixtal, the head of the Nixian collective. One vessel against dozens. The humans are using tactics we've never seen, replied Defense Coordinator Voxnar. Their ship appears to be teleporting. And those weapons, they're not energy-based. Nyxera's communication device chimed. Ambassador, this is Captain Blackwood. Are you receiving? Yes, Captain. We're watching the battle. It's incredible. It's just the beginning, Blackwood replied. Ambassador, we need your help. We've studied your crystalline harmonic technology. Our engineer believes it can be amplified to disrupt Kordath shield systems. Nyxera blinked in surprise. That's not possible. Our harmonic resonators are designed for communication and healing, not. With respect, Ambassador, humans have a habit of repurposing technologies. Dr. Kumar has transmitted specifications to your defense team. Can your scientists implement them? Nyxera looked at Voxnar, who was reviewing the incoming data. This is ingenious, the defense coordinator admitted. They want to use our planetary resonance array to create a harmonic cascade that would disrupt the specific frequency used by Kordath shields. Can we do it? Elder Zixtal asked. Yes, Voxnar replied. But it would require redirecting power from our life support systems, and once activated, the resonance cascade would affect all technology in the system, including our own defensive shields. We would be completely vulnerable, Nyxera realized. Not completely, came Blackwood's voice. Trust us. After a moment of silence, Elder Zixtal nodded. Proceed. We have placed our faith in Earth. We will see it through. In space, the battle intensified. The Defiant continued its hit-and-run tactics, using its phase displacement drive to appear where least expected, striking with conventional weapons that bypassed the Kordath's sophisticated defenses. But the odds remained overwhelming. Captain, we've lost PDD capability, Kumar reported urgently. Power reserves depleted. We have conventional engines only. Understood, Blackwood replied calmly. Lieutenant Deng, status of the Nixian resonance array. Powering up now, Captain. Estimated time to full capacity. 3 minutes. We may not have 3 minutes, Torres warned. Kordath fleet is converging on our position. 38 vessels still operational. On the inevitable dominance, Vexkay watched the human vessel with growing anger. The Deathworlders had cost him 7 ships already, an unacceptable loss. All vessels, concentrate fire on the human ship, he ordered. Full power to forward batteries. The Kordath fleet moved with precision, energy weapons charging. We're being targeted by multiple vessels, Torres reported on the Defiance bridge. Evasive maneuvers can't avoid them all. Hold position, Blackwood ordered. Shield status. Maximum power, but they won't hold against a coordinated barrage. Blackwood opened a channel. Ambassador Nyxera, we need that resonance cascade now. 30 seconds to full power, came the reply. We may not have 30 seconds, Blackwood said quietly. As the Kordath fleet prepared to fire, Blackwood made one final communication. All hands, braced for impact. This is going to hurt. The first volley from the Kordath vessels struck the Defiant's shields, which flared brilliantly before beginning to fail. The second volley was moments from impact when the Nixian resonance cascade activated. A wave of crystalline energy erupted from the planet's surface, spreading outward at the speed of light. As it passed through the Kordath fleet, their shields suddenly flickered and died. The energy wave continued onward, passing through the Defiant, whose shields also failed instantly. "Now," Blackwood ordered. Throughout the system, space rippled and tore as hundreds of objects exited microjumps. Not ships, as the Kordath had feared, but simple missiles, thousands of them, deployed earlier by the Defiant during its tactical jumps. Without shields, the Kordath fleet was completely vulnerable to the kinetic impact weapons. Explosions bloomed across space as the missiles found their targets. Within minutes, the mighty blockade fleet was reduced to drifting hulks and scattered debris. Only the inevitable dominance remained largely intact, its superior construction having weathered the assault. On its bridge, Vexkai stared in disbelief at the destruction of his fleet. "How?" he demanded. "How did one ship do this?" Transmission came through from the Defiant. Captain Blackwood's face appeared on screen, smoke and damage visible behind him. "High Commander, your blockade fleet has been neutralized. The Nixian people are under Earth's protection now. I suggest you retreat while you still can." Vexkai snarled. "This isn't over, human. The Dominion will not forget this insult." "Neither will Earth," Blackwood replied. "And neither will the galaxy. Let today be a lesson. Size and numbers aren't everything. Sometimes it's about changing the rules of engagement." As the inevitable dominance limped away from the Nixian system, a new era in galactic politics began. The news spread quickly throughout the Galactic Union. Humans, the primitive newcomers from a death world, had defeated one of the most powerful military forces in known space. 3 weeks later, Ambassador Nyx Era stood before the Grand Assembly once more. But this time, she was not alone. Captain Rice stood beside her, along with Captain Blackwood, still bearing injuries from the battle. "Esteemed delegates," Nyx Era began, "I come before you not with pleas, but with an announcement. The Nixian Collective has formed a mutual defense pact with Earth. We offer our harmonic crystal technology in exchange for their protection." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. "Furthermore," she continued, "we extend an invitation to any species threatened by the Kordath Dominion, or similar aggressive powers. Earth has demonstrated that size and technological advancement are not the only factors in defense. Sometimes, the most powerful weapon is a new perspective." Councillor Vextrol rose from his seat. "Ambassador Nyx Era, this body cannot officially recognize such alliances without proper review and—" Captain Rice stepped forward. "With respect, Councillor, we're not asking for recognition. We're simply informing the Union of our agreement. Earth may be new to galactic politics, but we understand one thing very clearly. When someone asks for help, you help them, even if it means standing against overwhelming odds." asked a delegate from the back. Captain Blackwood smiled. "Especially then. That's what humans do best." As the assembly erupted in debate, Nyx Era turned to her human allies. "My people never understood why a species would evolve on a world so hostile to life. Now I see the gift it gave you. The ability to face impossible odds and find a way through. It's not just about surviving the death world," Rise replied. "It's about what that survival taught us, that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe isn't technology or numbers." "What is it then?" Nyx Era asked. Blackwood and Rise exchanged a glance. "Hope," they said in unison. "And the refusal to accept defeat."